Hey, good morning, world. It's Patrick Lovell coming at you May 14th, 2022 at 8:40 a.m. my time. And look, the big news is the continuing just absolute global tank of crypto, of course, in addition to all of the other moves. But there was a big rally, what they call a dip rally on Wall Street yesterday. So I'm sure a lot of people that are institutional investors or long-term people were happy to see that. So maybe it's not the bottom, but I keep hearing that this is the everything bubble, and if it's the everything bubble, that means it's the tech bubble and it's the great financial crisis and everything else all in one. And yeah, it would be a fitting end to the last 20 years of absolute disaster, which never ends. And I mean, the first thing that you have to look at is the world's most valuable company right now is Saudi Aramco. Just surpassed Apple once again because there was a lot of market hit to the tech sector last week, and I mean, not like I'm surprised, but I keep that image of Putin and MBS in my mind, given 9/11 and the war in Ukraine and the world's continuous need for oil, and it's just insane and it's so stupid. You think about these celebrities like Kim Kardashian or even LeBron James, who I love, and I dig Matt Damon, but I was really disappointed in Matt Damon when he did the whole crypto campaign, bold favors or, fortune favors the brave sort of thing. And crypto's a fucking Ponzi scheme, man. The only good thing that's going to come out of crypto, and it's going to probably be used for the bad guys, is blockchain. I mean, blockchain is an incredible technology, but crypto itself are fucking tulips, man. And there were so many people that got into it, and you're seeing these stories of people like wiped out. And I heard about, like, I don't want to smile because it's kind of sad in a sense, but 8 suicides. I heard somebody quote yesterday. Don't know if that's accurate or not. But it's like fucking, I kept saying to my friends, who bought into crypto a long time ago, and I mean, it would have been great to ride it up, if you could get out when the time was right. But what value does crypto have? I mean, I think is it El Salvador that they use crypto, and I think El Salvador is in a great deal of pain right now as a result of these huge losses over the last 2 weeks in crypto, and I don't see crypto bouncing. But I was always interested in whether or not Putin was making a big play because maybe he had something with crypto and he knew something that the world didn't and everything else, but it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be that the dollar is getting stronger every day, as a matter of fact. And ironically, the dollar being strong globally is not good for American corporations. They need the dollar to be cheap for other countries to be able to trade in our dollars and create more volume. But that's just kind of a look at the stock market. And a lot of people have always said, well, the stock market's not the real economy. But the correlation is liquidity. And the one thing that you guys need to understand, and I was around, man, and I'll never forget, I spent a lot of time in San Francisco back in the late 90s, and it was a freaking badass fun time, man. And I was living in LA at the time, in Hollywood. And so, I love the big Hollywood movie parties and all of that type of stuff that I had an opportunity to attend. And it was like a super freaking rad time. And, but San Francisco was off the hook, man, because San Francisco was going through this dot-com bubble, and it was just like, holy shit. There was so much money, the people, I mean, it was just like talking about the roaring 20s, right? And it was fun, and it was cool, and it was all that. But the thing about the dot-com bubble was that everybody was chasing, the dragon, okay? But based on possibility, it was like, oh my God, this company could do that, and it's getting this much hits, and people were investing in it, and it was just like, okay, great, that was interesting. And then there was a lot of stuff on the backside that I never knew at that time that we display in the con. But ultimately, it collapsed, and a lot of people got wiped out. A lot of people lost a lot of money in the dot-com bubble. It was kind of relatively isolated compared to what happened in the 2008 great financial crisis because the housing bubble affected everybody. But, the tech bubble was huge, and, that was a big hit. But the thing was, the freaking Federal Reserve didn't come to the rescue and start buying, lost assets in the tech sector to prop up stuff that didn't make any money. Now, fast forward to like the last 3 to 4 years, and it's really, I started knowing about this stuff in 2016 because I knew about the Fed bailouts that took place after 2009. I mean, I started getting hip to this in about 2012, and I couldn't believe nobody was talking about it except for this one cat that I brought up in a previous, truth bomb. is this dude named Mark Pittman, who came out of Bloomberg. And Mark Pittman was this badass fastball pitcher from somewhere in Missouri. I think he was out of Kansas City. He was a middle linebacker in college, just an athlete, salt to the earth badass. And, he gets into, high power in DC and New York, and he's working, as a journalist, and he starts to uncover this stuff. And then first of all, he saw the collapse coming a mile long because he was covering a guy that we interviewed that I can't get off the fucking shelf because he's in season 2, a guy by the name of Josh Rosner, who was the ultimate hedge fund guy that actually warned the world that the housing collapse was going to happen. In fact, he was literally the Big Short. He was what the Big Short was based on. But he didn't cash in on it because he's an honest broker, if you can believe that. Bottom line is that this guy, Mark Pittman, starts studying everything after the fact, and he starts seeing what the Fed's doing, and he starts to dig in, and he gets FOIA requests and everything else. He's a crack journalist, a real journalist. He's not, part of the bootlicking media of access journalism. He's a real journalist, right? Looking for the truth. One thing leads to another, and this cat does a FOIA request to get, the real deal money of what's the real deal about, how much money is being pumped into in liquidity to be able to save the global markets. And I think 20 banks circle the wagons and sue him and sue Bloomberg, right? The guy dies of a heart attack, and I think it was 2011, 2012, somewhere in there. And, guy was really healthy. I don't know what the circumstances are, and I don't want to, project that, I think that he might have been knocked off or anything, because I have absolutely no idea. All I know is that I find it really interesting. He was the only journalist to talk about this. He ends up unfortunately dying. I tried to reach out to his wife to find out what the story was. And, we had to pick up the pieces of the puzzle, and we got it. But the corollary to what I'm trying to tell you, based on the global markets tanking and, crypto going in the toilet, which was predictable for anybody. I mean, it was just a fucking Ponzi scheme, and it still is, except for blockchain, of course. And we'll see what happens with the big boys that, come and swoop it up. But, I mean, there might be a time where, like, 20 years from now, something from blockchain is going to end up being like the next Google sort of thing. But, the Federal freaking Reserve has been pumping trillions upon trillions of dollars into the financial markets to prop up the stock market. We've seen zombie companies. I saw back in early 2016, zombie companies, stock buybacks, companies that didn't make money that I think were selling the bonds. I can't prove this part, but somehow packaging their bonds to these asset managers that the government was picking up based on QE, right? I know that was happening in the real estate market, and it never ended. And see, that's what's insane. And all of you out there that are like, oh my God, shit happens. I'm going to chase the dragon. Oh my God, I don't have any money now. Now I got to get with it. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, there's a Great Depression. And then somehow the Federal Reserve comes to the rescue. The Federal Reserve is not coming to your rescue. The Federal Reserve is rescuing the richest that basically chump everybody. And they chump everybody through their asset managers and this whole paradigm. And it's a casino. Again, casinos should never be bailed out. And under Donald Trump during the CARES Act, lo and behold, of course, the big casinos in Vegas got bailed out. Who bails out a casino? Has a casino ever bailed me out if I'm sitting there at fucking 4 o'clock in the morning out of my mind making stupid bets? No. That's my risk. My risk reward is to make good decisions. That's capitalism. Do we have capitalism based on this situation? No. We've got corporate fascism undergirded by a criminal syndicate. That's socialism for the freaking punk-ass bitches that are stealing from everybody, and you're sitting on your ass looking around in circles going, who's going to save me? Well, I'm here, but I can't save you unless you're willing to save yourself. We have to build a monumental populist tidal wave equipped with the facts of how our country has enabled griftopia to run amok. And whether it's Matt Damon and Kim Kardashian and Larry David and King James, my God, I love King James, but they were all hucking, pumping and dumping, crypto. I bet if you sat them down and you were like, okay, well, what's crypto going to achieve if there's a giant meltdown, global meltdown? What's it going to do? It's going to replace the dollar. No, it's not going to replace fiat currency. Of course not. Again, the United States has had a huge history, okay, becoming the powerhouse that it is. We had the Revolution, we had the Civil War, we had World War I, World War II, we had the Industrial Revolution, we had all of these ebbs and flows that created things, and the country itself has unbelievable resources. That's all real value, man. And that goes into the elixir that created, the power of the dollar and us being the global currency. Okay, and that came at great, great sacrifice, only to be betrayed by these son of a bitches that are using it all for themselves in the new aristocracy. And of course, the legal system got involved. I said this in a Twitter feed last night. Let's see if I can remember it. Crypto is to value what Trump is to patriotism, what Obama was to hope and change we could believe in, to what our current judiciary is to justice. What I could come up with several other things, but I think you get the gist of it. Which means that the only thing that we create in the United States is bullshit. We shopped out the golden goose long ago. We got to reboot completely, man. We got to purge corruption. I think a renaissance is right over the corner if we can do this. But I'm the only guy telling you this, and I've joined up with the Justice Party, and we've got to be able to come together, millions of us. Check out thejusticeparty.us. Check out Patrick Lovell, Truth Bombs the Con. Join us. Tell everybody. Get the word out that there's a group that's not stupid. We're not lambs being led to slaughter. We're freaking warriors for justice. We're badasses. We're the good guys coming to the rescue. That's who we are. Think of Peter Pan. Think of Jon Snow. Think of, what's his name in my favorite movie, which I can't, if I could think of Indiana Jones. Think of Mad Max. I mean, Jesus Christ, guys. We've seen it all the time depicted in movies and everything. It's our time to step up. We got to lean into this, dude. You got to understand the corruption. You got to understand how this whole thing works to be able to purge it, and that's how we win. And I think I'll finish up with this. Look, the long and the short of it is I think a lot of people out there have shown, in this social media landscape that, I think a lot more people are supportive of Johnny Depp. I think they're looking at Amber Heard as somebody who concocted this whole thing, that they blew it up, and they get to see that, the system itself ran because it was kind of, politically expedient to do so, and they canceled Johnny. And a lot of people are pissed off about that. And quite frankly, I am too. I mean, everything that I've seen so far, I think that they had a stupid relationship. I think you put too much money, too much drugs, too much time, and you're going to have a wipeout. I mean, it's not like we haven't seen this stuff before with celebrity couples, and rock star couples. I mean, my God, the worst were like Kurt and Courtney, and then Sid and Nancy. I mean, Jesus, Sid and Nancy back in the day was a nightmare that I'd never, ever want to live through. But, I think, quite frankly, Amber and Johnny are quite tame in comparison to those, train wrecks. But this has gotten millions upon millions of people pissed off, and there's you got millions of people, getting in these groups and cancel Amber, get her out of Aquaman and all this stuff. And it's amazing. We see it time and again in this popular culture thing. People get pissed off about that stuff. But meanwhile, liberty and justice for all, the integrity of law, and a system that makes sense in the USS Enterprise that can fly frickin' free. We have the dynamism of those powerful people on Earth because we're good, because the best rise at the top. And then we look out for each other. We're each other's keeper, and we're frickin' solid. You know what I'm saying? Oh, by the way, I won't go there. But look, we've got to have a revolution of our soul. We've got to have a revolution of our consumption. I think that's what I was going to say. When ultimately you see Mohammed bin Sultan, the guy who's the head of Saudi Arabia, laughing with, Vladimir Putin, after 9/11 in the last 20 years and everything it is, and Saudi Aramco is the most, valuable company in the world. What is the light bulb going off? Nothing's changed for 20 years. They just got really good at orchestrating the power behind the scenes, using technology and algorithms and all sorts of things to basically slam dunk on any notion of liberty and justice for all. We got to get it back, man. We got to freaking get millions ignited in the streets to do everything possible to bring attention to the fact that we know that we're being played by a criminal syndicate, and it has to be held accountable. And why didn't the Biden administration do this? When they first came into office, they said, we're going to clean things up. We're going to, get the Department of Justice on this. This long later, they haven't even been able to get Trump on the insurrection. And yeah, it's a big fucking folly of fraud. And that's what they're going to do in the midterms. It's going to be, ultimately the big lie, and mainstream media doesn't even know where to begin on this whole thing because they don't even know what the con was because they're that stupid. And then ultimately it's going to be, the Wall Street meritocracy and the Federal Reserve coming to the rescue of the rich. And then everybody else is going to be like, oh, well, what about me? What about you? They don't care about you. Like George Collins said, they don't care about you. It's a big club and you're not in it. So I don't want sheep. I don't want lambs. I don't want people that are, me, nothing we can do about this. I need people with common sense. We need people with a sense of justice, right or wrong, integrity, warriors for justice. Please join us. TheJusticeParty.us. And of course, Patrick Lovell, Truth Bombs the Con. Check out the con at www.thecon.tv. And if you're for Johnny and justice, hey, why don't you try our side, try our movement on for size? There's a lot more at stake. Onwards and upwards.